Sonic has a lot of games, to put it simply. Today I'm going to be ranking all of the Sonic games considered to be mainline, but I'll make exceptions for some games. This is going to be so much fun. Be sure to hit that subscribe button before starting. These videos can be hard to make and can take a lot of time to edit, so I'd appreciate it if you would. With that said, let's get right into the video. So starting with Sonic 1, I think this game is pretty good. The evil genius known as Dr. Robotnik, or as Sonic calls him, Dr. Eggman, is kidnapping all the animals of South Island to use them inside of robots. Sonic doesn't really like this, so he spends his first adventure freeing as many animals as he can and stopping Robotnik's plans. I like a lot about this game. Green Hill and Starlight Zone are amazing levels. Spring Yard Zone's a pretty good level as well. But the reason most people don't like this game is because of slow stages like Marble Zone and Labyrinth Zone, and I'd have to agree somewhat, although I don't think it completely ruins the experience for me. The music is great too. This game's a high B tier for me. Next up is Sonic 2, and this is a masterpiece if I'm being honest. While running through the new West Side Island, Sonic meets a young fox boy with two tails named Miles Tails Prower, or just Tails for short. Tails follows Sonic on this next adventure, eager to help the blue hedgehog stop Dr. Robotnik once again. Almost every level in this game is awesome to play through. I say almost because of Metropolis Zone, which is a really bad level, I'm sorry. Besides that one level that has 3 acts, no. I think this game is incredible and deserves A tier in my opinion. Music is incredible too. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the best classic Sonic game in my opinion. I mean, come on, introduce Knuckles, aka the GOAT. Sonic 3 follows Sonic and Tails as they head through Angel Island to try to stop Dr. Robotnik from relaunching his flying fortress, the Death Egg, which is basically the Sonic version of the Death Star. Angel Island is home to Knuckles the Echidna, a very powerful warrior who guards the gem known as the Master Emerald. Told by Eggman that Sonic would steal it, Knuckles acts as a stumbling block to Sonic and Tails most of the game, until Eggman steals the Master Emerald from him. Knuckles then realizes his mistake and decides to help Sonic and Tails, and they get the Master Emerald back from Robotnik in an epic battle. Sonic and Tails then return it to Angel Island, and all is good once more. For me, it's the level design I really love about this game. Nearly every stage is iconic and a great experience to play through. Overall, Sonic 3 and Knuckles takes the best parts of the first 2 games and makes the ultimate 2D experience. A tier. Oh wait, I think I forgot about Sonic CD. Despite me forgetting about it, Sonic CD is a unique experience to say the least. Whether good or bad, ultimately that's up to you to decide. But for me, I think it's pretty good. Sonic heads to Little Planet, which is a planet appearing once a month out of the year, then vanishes during the other 11. Sonic knows Robotnik is up to something again, so he heads to the planet to stop his next scheme. I mostly like it because of how fun it can be to travel through time and hunt for the generators and the time stones. This game for me is a high B tier, really good, but not nearly as good as the next game, Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure is what really got me into Sonic. The game is split up into 6 different stories featuring Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big the Cat, and Gamma. Most of these characters you probably never heard of. In Sonic's story, Sonic admires the city of Station Square when one night he runs into a mysterious water creature known as Chaos. He defeats him pretty easily, but learns the next day that Chaos absorbs Chaos Emeralds to make him much stronger, and also learns that Dr. Eggman is up to no good once again, and is planning on giving Chaos all 7 Chaos Emeralds to destroy Station Square. His next adventure sees him trying to collect the emerald before Eggman can to prevent Chaos from destroying the city. All the other characters have their own stories, so I won't get into all of them because that would take a long time. Eventually, Chaos does collect all 7 emeralds and devastates Station Square. Because Chaos used the negative power of the emeralds, there was still positive power left for Sonic to use. He used it to transform into Super Sonic and took down Perfect Chaos. Tails then gives his famous line,
"All's well that ends well, right?"
It's really cool to see the characters meet each other in their own stories respectively. People complain about Big's campaign being annoying to play through, but it isn't that bad because it doesn't take that long to beat, at least if you know what you're doing. Wait, I lost a life? Did Big just die? There's so much to love about this game. I like the story. I like the gameplay. Everything about this game is just great. I could talk about it all day, but since this isn't a Sonic Adventure review, I'll just go ahead and put it in S tier and let that be that. Sonic Adventure 2. Where do I even start? This right here is peak Sonic to me. The game is split up into 3 stories: the hero story, the dark story, and the final story. Each story features 3 gameplay styles: high-speed action stages, mech shooting, and treasure hunting. Depending on which story you play first, the game begins with Dr. Eggman infiltrating a military base in hopes of stealing their top-secret weapon. Once he finds the weapon, he opens the capsule it's in and releases Shadow the Hedgehog, who has been sealed away for 50 years. Shadow had a dark backstory of losing his closest friend Maria during the shutdown of the Ark, a research center made by Professor Gerald, who was Dr. Eggman's grandfather. Remembering the last words of Maria,
Shadow, I beg of you, please
Maria!
do it for me, for all the people on that planet. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow plans to get revenge by getting all the Chaos Emeralds and using a powerful weapon in the space colony Ark to destroy Earth. Sonic and his friends go to stop them, and at the end, when Earth is about to be destroyed, Amy, of all people, makes Shadow remember Maria's true final words.
I beg of you, please, do it for me. For a
Maria!
better future. For all people who live on that planet. Give them a chance to be happy. Let them live for their dreams. Shadow, I know you can do it. That's the reason why you were brought into this world. Sayonara, Shadow the
That's what I
Hedgehog.
promised her. And I must keep that promise. That's what
Shadow?
Maria wished for. I've gotta go now. I have to keep my promise to Maria and you.
Now Shadow realizes what he must do, and together he and Sonic save the world in an epic and cinematic final boss. At the end of the final fight, Shadow falls down to Earth and is presumed to have died. The characters then reflect on the adventure they had just been a part of, and Sonic gives his last iconic line.
Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Everything about this game, the story, the characters, the music, the voice acting, the levels... Okay, maybe not that one, but still, everything about this game is amazing to me. The hero story opening will always be awesome to me no matter what people say. Let's not forget this was the very game to introduce Shadow, who is one of my favorite Sonic characters, and I'm sure most people's favorite. I love the final boss too. The dialogue especially makes it even more cinematic. People usually complain about the mech stages and treasure hunting stages ruining the pacing of the game, but if you don't like them, just get better at them and you'll like them even more. This game was what really made me love Sonic in the first place. S tier. Sonic Heroes is the next game, and I think it's pretty good. Instead of playing as one character like the adventure games, Heroes has you play as a team of 3 characters, which is pretty cool. The game is split up into 4 stories. Each story you play as a different team. There's Team Sonic, featuring Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Team Dark, featuring Shadow, Rouge, and a robot called Omega. Team Rose, featuring Amy, Cream the Rabbit, and Big the Cat. And Team Chaotix, featuring Espio, Charmy, and Vector. Team Sonic get a letter from Eggman saying he's going to conquer the world in 3 days, so they head off to stop him. Team Dark Story is the second one, which brings back Shadow the Hedgehog and Rouge the Bat from Sonic Adventure 2, and introduces a new character called Omega. Shadow suffers from amnesia and can't remember a thing about his past. Omega is mad that Eggman kept him at a base instead of in battle, and Rouge just wants jewels, so the 3 of them head off to find Eggman. The third team is Team Rose. Team Rose features Amy Rose, Big the Cat, and Cream the Rabbit, who made her debut in Sonic Advance 2. Basically, Team Rose wants to find their missing friends that they think Sonic kidnapped. Team Chaotix is the last team, who get a mysterious call from an unknown client saying he has missions for them, and he will pay well if completed. The Chaotix complete hard mission after hard mission after hard mission after hard mission, only to realize that their mysterious client was none other than Dr. Eggman. Eggman got overthrown by the power-hungry Metal Sonic, After completing each of the stories, you'll unlock the final boss, which is a fight against Neo Metal Sonic, which is a super sick version of Metal Sonic from Sonic CD. Most of the levels are fun, the team mechanic is really cool, and the voice acting is top tier. The cast definitely mastered the feel for the characters at this point. Except for Tails.
Hey, look! It's Sonic!
My main issues with the game is that the controls can feel really slippery, and glitches are likely to occur, especially in the latter half of the game. Overall, Sonic Heroes is a great game and a fun time when playing, but definitely has some problems. A tier. Shadow the Hedgehog isn't considered a mainline game to most people, but I think it's pretty good, so I'll rank it anyway. Shadow the Hedgehog follows, you guessed it, Shadow, as he tries to figure out the truth about his past. Now, most people don't like this game, but I think it's pretty good. The first time I played it, though, was pretty mid, but then I played through the whole thing, and it was a lot of fun. I like the idea of choose your own path. It's pretty cool. Although you have to get every single ending in order to get the true final boss, so it looks like you're gonna have to play the game through 10 times. Have fun! Having a big goal to complete does make it pretty fun, so I'll give it the bottom of A tier, also just because of the memes.
This is like taking candy from a baby, which is fine by me.
This line is so stupid, I love it. So next is Sonic the Hedgehog, also known as Sonic 06. To put it simply, this game nearly destroyed the franchise. Fans and critics both hate this game for its glitches, story, and gameplay, and some even say it's the worst video game ever. Even on some websites titled Worst Video Games of All Time, Sonic 06 is likely to be on that list. But what do I think of it? Well, I think that Sonic 06 is an underrated masterpiece of a game. Yeah, you heard me. Now, before you type your criticism in the comments section, let me tell you why I think this. The game is broken up into 3 stories. You have Sonic, Shadow, and a newcomer, Silver. Sonic's story has Sonic saving the Princess of Soliana, Elise, from Dr. Eggman, who realizes that Elise has the flames of disaster known as Iblis sealed inside of her, and that he wants to use to conquer the world. Shadow's story has him pursuing Mephiles, a dark evil spirit, who is the half of a sun god called Solaris, with Iblis being the other half. Silver's story has him trying to save the future from a terrible event that he is convinced that Sonic is responsible for. He tries to kill Sonic, but eventually realizes that he was deceived and works together with Sonic and eventually defeats Iblis, preventing the world from being destroyed. Once you beat all 3 stories, you'll play the last story, which in a nutshell, Mephiles kills Sonic, making Elise cry and releasing the flames of disaster known as Iblis from inside of her. So Mephiles then merges with Iblis once again to become Solaris, a being that exists in the past, present, and future. Eventually, the gang travel through the distorted world, get the Chaos Emeralds, revive Sonic with them, and the 3 main hedgehogs take down Solaris in the past, present, and future all at once. After it's all over, the timeline is erased by removing Solaris, thus erasing the events of the game, so it then ends at the Soliana Festival, where Sonic looks off into the night horizon. I love this game, man. Most people have a problem with the gameplay, and that's really hard to play with so many glitches, but I'll tell you, I hardly ran into any glitches my whole playthrough of it, so I don't know what people are talking about. Regardless, Sonic 06 is my second favorite Sonic game, and definitely deserves S tier in my opinion. You probably think I'm crazy, and I agree with you. Sonic and the Secret Rings has a great story. Sonic accidentally touches a special ring and meets a genie named Shara, who reveals to Sonic that an evil entity from her world known as Eraser Jin is absorbing the power of her world. Eager for adventure, Sonic decides to help her, and together they journey through the world of the Arabian Nights. Now here's the thing, when I first made the script, I thought the game was pretty mid, like the gameplay, but I played it back to get the footage, and I actually think it's pretty good. I only got to record Sand Oasis and Dinosaur Jungle, but those 2 were pretty good. I'm surprised. The reason I don't really like it is not because I don't like the controls. I actually think they're okay. I just think the fact that you're forced to play the entire game with a Wii remote can be really annoying. I do think Secret Rings has a lot going for it, such as the villain, Eraser Jin being pretty cool, and Darkspine Sonic might just be the coolest thing ever. Sometimes this game can be really fun, sometimes it can be pretty mid, so I'll give it a B tier. The next game on our list is Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed is a phenomenal game. I love this game so much. The game starts off with a gorgeous intro with Sonic about to stop Eggman once again with the power of Super Sonic, but ends up falling for Eggman's secret trap that turns Sonic into a werewolf, or just known as the Hedgehog. In the process, Dr. Eggman also releases two beings trapped inside the Earth, one being known as Dark Gaia and the other known as Light Gaia, or Chip, as Sonic names him later when meeting him. Upon Dark Gaia being awakened, the planet splits up into chunks, and it's up to Sonic to fix them. As for the gameplay, the game is split up into two different gameplay styles, each stage being either a daytime stage, where Sonic runs through them at really high speeds, or a nighttime stage, which has Sonic transforming into the Hedgehog for combat-based stages. The daytime stages are some of the best in the whole series and are so much fun to play. The night stages are okay. They're not as fun as the daytime levels, but they're still decent. Unleashed has a good story, awesome music, and amazing levels. This game is an awesome experience and is my third favorite Sonic game, S tier. Sonic and the Black Knight is next on the list, and I think it's a pretty good game altogether. One day, a girl named Merlina calls upon Sonic from a different world under the idea that they're trying to stop the corrupted King Arthur, also known as the Black Knight. However, it turns out later in the game that Merlina was wanting King Arthur defeated, only that she could take Excalibur's scabbard to become the new queen. With the power of the 3 sacred swords that you collect in the game, Sonic becomes Excalibur Sonic and fights and defeats the final boss, Dark Queen. The story's good, the music's good, the levels are good. It's a good game. Now, do I enjoy swinging my arm for 4 hours with the Wii Remote's motion controls? No, not really. It's not the worst problem in the world, but I still don't really like it. I don't really like Caliburn either. He can be pretty annoying. Black Knight is a high B tier for me, and I think it's pretty good. Next game is Sonic Colors. Eggman builds an interstellar amusement park to quote-unquote make up for his past. Sonic and Tails, of course, don't believe this, so they head to the park themselves, and are blown away by all that the park has, which makes them even more curious what Eggman's up to. On the way, they meet these alien-type creatures known as Wisps, which give Sonic unique abilities in return for Sonic freeing them from capsules that Eggman put them in. It turned out that Eggman was using the Wisp's power for his ultimate weapon to destroy Sonic. Once again, his plans fail, and his entire park gets destroyed by a black hole created by his machine. Sonic survives this with the help of the Wisps, and Sonic and Tails make it back home safely. I'm not a fan of the writing of this game, but I don't really mind it because the gameplay and the music are really good. This game is great. The story could be a lot better, but I still think it's a great game nonetheless. A tier. Now, Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 would probably be considered mainline, but nobody likes those games, so I'm just going to skip them. Sonic Generations, the series' 20th anniversary celebration title. This game featured Sonic running through past levels similar to how he did in Unleashed, and classic Sonic, Sonic's past self, who you can play as through 2D levels similar to how he did in the classic games. This game is just so much fun. Very rare do you find someone who hates this game. It's such a blast to play through. The story begins with Sonic having a surprise birthday party, when all of a sudden the party gets crashed by a powerful being known as the Time Eater. Sonic's friends all get sucked up into portals, and Sonic gets transported into a lifeless world called White Space, where he meets his past self, classic Sonic. Together, running through levels, they are able to restore the past, and together, they stop Dr. Eggman with the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic Generations is a great game. I love modern Sonic stages. Classic Sonic stages are alright, but I don't really enjoy playing them. Overall, a wonderful game that I think deserves the top of A tier. The next game is probably the most unique game on this list, Sonic Lost World. In this game, Sonic and Tails are chasing down Dr. Eggman, who stole a capsule full of animals. Eggman shoots down their plane, the Tornado, and they head toward a new unexplored land called the Lost Hex. There they meet a group of villains known as the Deadly Six. Basically, Eggman controls them with the special conch that Sonic kicks out of his hands. With Eggman losing control of them, the Zeddy now are free to rule the world without being a slave to Eggman. Eggman then teams up with Sonic, and they stop the Zeddy for good, until Eggman betrays them at the last minute. No surprise there. Sonic beats him, and the world is saved. Sonic Lost World is a sad case, because right when Sonic Team got a feel for how the game should be made with Generations, they made this game. I'll admit, this game does have some redeeming qualities, such as the parkour system being really fun when mastered, and the game being very polished. You will rarely find glitches in this game. But other than that, it's pretty mediocre, C tier. Is Sonic Mania a mainline Sonic game? Probably not, but I'll give it an A tier. Next is Sonic Forces, a game with so much potential that I feel like didn't deliver too well. In this game, Dr. Eggman finds the Phantom Ruby and lets a jackal named Infinite use its power to become one of the strongest Sonic villains ever. As Eggman attacks a city, Sonic comes to save them, but ultimately ends up getting beaten by Infinite and the power of the Phantom Ruby. The game then jumps 3 months into the future and has your own character to customize that goes to rescue Sonic from being captured. Eventually, Sonic and the avatar character that you create stop Infinite, then later stop Dr. Eggman, thus concluding the game and bringing the world back to freedom again. Now, most people say this game is garbage, but I think it's decent. I'm obviously not saying this game is great. It certainly has flaws, but come on, it's not that bad. Infinite is one of my favorite Sonic villains ever. The only thing that kept Infinite from being perfect was his terrible writing. The visuals, I think, are really good, and the music is phenomenal. The story and gameplay are both pretty bad, though, so that bumps this game down to the C tier. Sonic Frontiers is just an awesome game. What more can I say? Okay, I can't say a lot more. You remember all those problems I had with the writing of most of the new Sonic games? Sonic Frontiers fixes that. The game begins as Sonic, Tails, and Amy are about to arrive on the Starfall Islands. Out of nowhere, the gang gets sucked into a wormhole, and Sonic gets transported to a digital world known as cyberspace. Through speed and willpower, Sonic makes it out of the digital dimension, and now must explore the Starfall Islands in hope of rescuing his friends. The game gives you 4 islands to explore, each being really big. Each island also has you face a powerful Titan with the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds you collect. Both the islands and the boss fights are really good, and they're so much fun. Sonic Frontiers fixed the Sonic series in general, and ever since its release, Sonic has been going nowhere but up. This game is an easy S tier. Sonic Superstars is next, and I can't say I really like this game too much. Now, the levels are pretty good, and I enjoy most of them, but the bosses... The bosses are so painful to get through, as you can only land a hit like once every 15 seconds. The music also doesn't help. I would talk about Sonic Superstars' story, but it feels like it doesn't really have one, so I guess I won't. This game is a B tier for me. And that's my tier list for you. I'm gonna get so much hate for this. Thank you guys for watching. If you like Sonic, please make sure to like and subscribe to see more stuff like this. I'll see you guys next time.